The U.S. Department of State's monthly visa bulletin is a moment of intense anticipation for thousands of immigrants and their families. Each month they eagerly await the release, hoping for good news that will bring them one step closer to their American dream. For those hoping to make the United States their permanent home, the visa bulletin is more than just a document. It's a lifeline. It dictates when they can move forward with their applications and, ultimately, their lives. The September 2022 inspired sign nanin wanda dunder Durn Seabury's Edjur Dek Shawanis on Tradiswager Dumwanaper Yen Sudin Skani, the wordy movement in any key employment-based categories, mirroring August. This stagnation was a stark contrast to the usual flurry of activity and updates. This standstill wasn't an oversight, but a predictable outcome as the government's fiscal year ended and the annual visa allocation was nearly exhausted. The end of the fiscal year often brings a slowdown, as the Department of State carefully manages the remaining visa numbers. The Department of State put the brakes on to avoid issuing more visas than legally allowed. This cautious approach ensures that the system remains fair and within legal limits, but it also means a temporary halt for many applicants. For many, this meant their place in the queue wouldn't advance until a new supply of visas became available. The wait can be excruciating, especially for those who have already been waiting for years. It was a period of forced patience, especially for those close to having their priority dates become current. The uncertainty and delay add to the emotional toll on families and individuals who are in limbo. USCIS compounded the wait by only accepting applications based on the restrictive final action dates chart. This chart is often more conservative, further limiting the number of applicants who can move forward. The September 2025 visa bulletin marked the end of a fiscal year, a clear dividing line, closing one chapter and setting the stage for the next. The transition from one fiscal year to another is always a significant moment, filled with both endings and new beginnings. For those watching closely, the real news was what the September bulletin confirmed. October would bring a fresh allocation of visas and new opportunities. The anticipation for the next bulletin is palpable, as it holds the promise of progress and hope. The calm before the storm was about to end. With the new fiscal year, a wave of changes and possibilities was on the horizon, ready to reshape the lives of many hopeful immigrants. To understand the visa bulletin, you need to know how the U.S. employment-based immigration system works. Each fiscal year, a set number of employment-based green cards are available, 150,037 for 2025. These are divided into 5 preference categories, EB1 through EB5. Demand, especially in EB2 and EB3, far exceeds supply, creating backlogs. A per-country cap means no single country can get more than 7% of visas in a category each year, so applicants from India and China face much longer waits. Your place in line is set by your priority date, the date your employer filed your initial application. The visa bulletin lists which priority dates are now eligible to apply. It's a complex balancing act between total supply, category demand, and per-country limits. The visa bulletin has 2 key charts: final action dates and dates for filing. The final action dates chart tells you when a visa is actually available and your green card can be approved. The finish line: if your priority date is earlier than the date listed, a visa number is allocated to you. The dates for filing chart acts as an early notification system, often with more generous dates. When USCIS allows, applicants can file their I-485 early, gaining work and travel benefits, while waiting for approval. In September 2025, only the restrictive final action dates chart was used, forcing many to keep waiting. The monthly decision on which chart to use is as eagerly awaited as the bulletin itself. Understanding these charts is critical for every applicant. The difference can mean months or years of waiting. The September 2025 visa bulletin's freeze affected everyone, but not equally. For most of the world, the wait was frustrating but relatively short. For India and China, it reaffirmed the immense challenge, wait times measured in decades. For example, Indian EB2 applicants saw their date stuck at January 1, 2013, over 12 years ago. Chinese applicants in EB1 faced a nearly 3-year backlog. In EB2, the wait was also years long. Meanwhile, applicants from countries like France or Japan faced a backlog of about 2 years. The bulletin highlighted the deep disparity in the system, a temporary pause for some, another month in a marathon for others. The length of the runway varies dramatically depending on where you're from. The September 2025 halt was no surprise. It's built into the system. The U.S. sets an annual cap on employment-based visas, and by late summer, the pool is nearly dry. The Department of State had warned for months that demand would reach the cap by year's end. Holding dates steady ensured the government didn't exceed legal limits. If the cap is reached, visa availability stops until the next fiscal year. This end-of-year slowdown is a recurring pattern, creating a bottleneck that only clears in October. On October 1st, a new batch of visas is released, replenishing the pool. The September freeze was met with anticipation, not despair. Everyone knew October would bring movement. The fiscal year reset is a crucial moment for applicants. The system's rhythm is predictable, even if the wait is long. October 2025 brought a dramatic shift, one that many immigrants, families, and employers had been anxiously awaiting for months. As the new fiscal year began, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and hope, but also uncertainty about what the changes would mean for thousands of people across the country. With the start of the fiscal year came a fresh supply of visas, opening new opportunities for those stuck in long backlogs. For many, this was the moment they had been preparing for, gathering documents and watching the visa bulletins month after month. The biggest change this year was that USCIS allowed adjustment of status filings using the more generous dates for filing chart, rather than the stricter, final action dates. This policy shift meant that many more people could take the next step in their immigration journey much sooner than expected. Suddenly, thousands of applicants and their families could finally submit their I-485 applications. This unlocked crucial work and travel benefits, bringing a sense of security and stability after years of waiting. For many, it was a life-changing moment that brought families closer to their American dream. For example, Indian EB-3 dates for filing jumped forward by 14 months, a significant leap that allowed a whole new group of professionals and their families to apply. This change opened the door for many who had been waiting in limbo, giving them a real chance to move forward with their lives and careers in the United States. Final action dates also advanced in several categories, signaling real progress and offering hope to those who had been stuck for years. Each movement on the chart represented a step closer to permanent residency. Even a 3-month jump was a huge relief for those who had been waiting over a decade, separated from loved ones or unable to plan their futures. For these families, every bit of progress felt monumental. However, not all news was positive. There were setbacks and disappointments as well, reminding everyone that the process is rarely straightforward. The EB-3 rest of world dates for filing actually moved backward by 2 months due to unexpectedly high demand, leaving many applicants frustrated and forced to wait even longer. The October Bulletin made it clear that while new visas bring hope and opportunity, progress isn't always linear. The system can move forward, stall, or even take a step back, depending on demand and government policy. The path to a green card remains unpredictable, full of unexpected twists and turns. For many, the journey continues, shaped by both hope and uncertainty. The contrast between September and October 2025 could not be starker. These 2 months, though side by side on the calendar, felt worlds apart for thousands of immigrants and their families, each waiting anxiously for a sign of progress. September was a standstill. No movement, no new filings, just waiting. For many, it was a month filled with uncertainty and frustration, as applications sat untouched and hope seemed to be on pause. The silence from immigration offices was deafening, leaving applicants to wonder when, or if, things would change. But then, October brought renewed momentum, with new visas and a more favorable filing policy. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. There was a sense of possibility in the air. Applicants who had been stuck in limbo found themselves scrambling to gather documents, consult attorneys, and prepare their filings. For example, an Indian EB-1 applicant stuck in September suddenly became eligible to file in October as the dates for filing chart jumped forward. This change meant that years of waiting could finally translate into real action, and families could start to plan for a more certain future. A Chinese EB-2 applicant went from waiting to being able to file their green card application overnight. The shift was dramatic, and for many, it felt like a long-awaited door had finally opened, offering a chance to move forward after months or even years of delay. The USCIS decision on which chart to use is critical. It can open or close the door for thousands. Each year, this choice determines who gets to take the next step and who must keep waiting, making it one of the most closely watched announcements in the immigration process. While green cards aren't approved instantly, filing brings crucial interim benefits. These include work authorization and travel permits, which can make a huge difference in people's lives while they wait for final approval. The tale of these 2 months shows that a period of no news is often just the prelude to new opportunities. Even when the process feels stagnant, change can arrive suddenly and reshape everything. The system's cycles can change fortunes in a single month. For those who keep hope alive through the quiet times, the rewards can be life-changing when the window finally opens. For many, October was the breakthrough they'd been waiting for, a month that turned waiting into action, and uncertainty into hope for a brighter future. With October's opportunities, it's vital to act quickly. Review the visa bulletin and check if your priority date is current on the dates for filing chart. If eligible, consult your immigration lawyer and prepare your I-485 application immediately. File for work and travel permits at the same time. These benefits are key. Filing windows can close quickly if demand spikes, so don't delay. If your date isn't current yet, stay organized, monitor the bulletin, and be ready to act. The journey's a marathon, not a sprint. October is the start of a new leg in the race. For many, the race to a green card is finally back on.